The Last Voyage of the Demeter. This is a movie that I've actually been anticipating for a long time. I know it's gone through like a lot of hurdles for like actually over a decade in terms of its production, or pre-production setup and stuff like that. A lot of different directors and different takes and everything. But I was glad to hear it was finally like really getting some traction like a couple of years ago, and it's been one of my most anticipated movies of the year. And I'm happy to say it's lived up to that because it is one of my top movies of the year now. Top 5, if not top 3. Of course, being a big horror fan, but I love, great Dracula takes, and along with Renfield at the other end of the stick, we haven't had like a seriously good, theatrically released, vampire, let alone Dracula movie for a while. And this, brings it back to some of its roots, almost literally. And it takes place sort of in that lesser written about chapter of, like Bram Stoker's Dracula, where he travels from Romania or wherever to, London. And so it sort of captures, that. Netflix did do something with that with their, miniseries, which I actually thought was pretty good as well. But again, we're talking movies. But this is done in a almost more honest way, really. I know some people have criticized the look of Dracula in this, and to me, those that do, they aside, like, you can say what you want about the CG, which I actually think is still really solid all around. But those that criticize it beyond that, I don't think really know all that much about Dracula. They even say it in the film that Dracula, at this point, he's not caring to, blend in or sort of just, insert himself into any like social situation. This is him having not fed for a while, almost starving, so he's at like an almost feral state, and just like at his most ruthless and honest, essentially, because he gives no fucks in this movie, for any like charming or lust or anything like that. He just wants to feed and torment people, just completely. So he's just in his most like true form, really. And I think that was a refreshing way to go for, and what we get with the Dracula design is like a mesh of like Nosferatu and Salem's Lot even. And I thought he looks really good from a design standpoint. It's a mix of, again, that CG, which you can tell it is sometimes, but I do think it's solid CG, and then an actual, makeup and prosthetic work and such. I cannot pronounce his name, but he's done a lot of like, almost like contortionist, type body movements for a lot of different creatures in a lot of different horror movies. So I think he did really well with it from what I could tell. I can't pronounce this actress's name either, but she starred in The Nightingale a few years ago, which is a very good, very specific film as well. I hope she's not someone that just kind of slips under the radar, because she feels like she should be a big star, because she did really well, if not even better here. And I just hope she gets even bigger roles before studios lose their time with her somehow. Of course, you have Davos, Liam Cunningham from Game of Thrones as the captain here, the captain's log, right? And I think that was a, very good perspective to take on it. You have Corey Hawkins, his role in The Walking Dead and, like 24 Legacy and stuff. He did well here. He seems like a more experienced actor than he is, which is good. And just the little mood of it and the build and the tension and the paranoia and everything is just about perfect. You even have someone who most of you know is like the Polka Dot Man, from the Suicide Squad, but I've seen him in the MacGyver TV series and a lot of other things. He's good here as like the first mate. There's even a child actor that does well here. So yeah, there's really not too much to complain about. Like when the weather takes in, it has a really good atmosphere to it, and just building that tension. And I thought the movie was excellent, really. I guess it is predictable in where it's going, but it's still engaging in how it gets there. Do I think it needs a follow-up? No, I think it's good as like a self-contained, like standalone movie. But on the other hand, I would like to see these filmmakers sort of take on like their version of the continuation of this Dracula story. I think it could be pretty cool. But if it's just a one-off, that's great too. But yeah, definitely one of my top movies of the year. Lived up to the hype for me. It is fairly violent. There's a couple pretty pleasingly graphic kills. A couple characters get deaths that are a little bit more mundane than you might want. which is kind of odd. I don't know if it's budget reasons or what, but for the most part, there's pretty satisfying and fairly savage violence, as befitting a Dracula or a vampire story. So yeah, I really loved it. Definitely one of my tops of the year. And yeah, catch you next time.